Hey everyone, it's Justin again. I decided to film myself doing my makeup this morning because I was just in the mood to chat with you all while putting on some products, and I hope you enjoy. So the first step for me is always putting on primer. It goes on after moisturizer and before your foundation. I used to not need primer, to be honest, but the older that I get, I find that the more oily my skin is, and my foundation does not last as long without primer. So now primer is a must for me. A lot of different kinds work for my skin. I just happen to have this one. It's the Smashbox Photo Finish primer, which is actually one of my favorites. So I put that throughout my entire face. Now the foundation I'm gonna go in with today is gonna be my new favorite. It's from NYX. It's called the Can't Stop Won't Stop Foundation, and I'm actually in between two shades here, so I'm gonna mix them together on my brush. I like to be really careful and go up to the hairline, but I try not to get the foundation on my hair. A lot of times I fail, and that doesn't matter because you can always wipe it off afterwards. So next step I like to do is highlight my face, not sparkle highlight as in bring up lighter parts of my face, because usually the skin is not just one tone all around. So foundation does make it look very kind of bland. So to add some dimension, I do concealer, bronzers, and powders. So here's a concealer. This one I like by Flower Beauty. It's a very affordable brand that you can get at Ulta, created by Drew Barrymore. So I like to do the triangle underneath the eyes, brighten up the nose. The forehead, and then the chin. And if y'all think this is excessive, let me explain the reasoning behind this. It's a common makeup practice by a lot of people. It's the process of highlighting and contouring your face. Whatever you make brighter on your face brings it forward, and whatever you darken to contour brings it back. So I have a very round face, so I want to slim it up. So I highlight these parts, and then I will go in and contour the fatness of my cheeks and a little bit of my forehead. So I have here one of my favorite beauty sponges by Morphe, and I'm gonna go ahead and blend out the concealer with tapping motions. Make sure you use tapping or patting motions rather than swiping, because swiping will get rid of the coverage of the foundation, and we want to keep all of our imperfections concealed. You especially want to be gentle under the eye area, because the skin there is very delicate. So no tugging and pulling, just patting. And take your time with this. Don't feel like you need to rush the process. If I'm running late in the mornings, I would definitely skip most of the steps that you will see here in this video today. I'm in a very laid back mood because I slept in way late today. But you know what? I think that when we're on vacation, we have to remember to relax. You can't just go and fill in every minute with something to do, unless that's your personal style. It's actually not mine. I prefer relaxing weekends. Sometimes I don't take days off when I'm at home between traveling, so I get really exhausted just going on busy vacations and then going straight into work. So I'm not mad that I slept in today. Okay, so that looks good. So this is a step that I do because I have oily skin. We want to set the concealer that we put in place, because concealer will move if you do not set it in place with powder. So I take my favorite one by Maybelline, Fit Me, and it's another drugstore powder that I love. And I place it everywhere. I put the concealer, I like to take a small brush like this so it really focuses the concentration of the powder. Sometimes on summer days when I'm really oily, I will just set my entire face with a larger powder brush. Next up, we are going to contour. All my skating fans know that I love to contour just like Gabby Daleman. So I have the Tarte's Pro Glow palette. It's by Tarte. Let's open it up here, and I will take this bottom cool tone brown shade, tap off the excess, and then start from this place in my ear and then bring it down. And I also bring it down my chin here since I have more of a round face and I want to slim it out. If you're afraid of your contour looking too harsh, I think some ways to prevent that is choose a really, really light tone contour like this one in this palette and blend really, really well. And contour is something where it's like if you don't do it right, then you shouldn't do it at all because it could go real bad, real easy. That being said, if you do mess up your contour, there are ways to fix it afterwards with powder and bronzer and a big fluffy brush. I have a little bit of a double chin, so a secret to hiding that is putting your contour powder right underneath your chin there and accentuating that jawline. I also put it up here in the corners, my forehead, to kind of complete the slimmer face look. Alright, now I don't know about you, but I think that makes my face look much slimmer. And the older that I get, the more that I find that fat gets stored in my face sooner than the rest of my body. So that's a weird thing. Next up, I'm going to take bronzer, my favorite from the drugstore is by No. 7. Take a big fluffy brush. And bronzer, I just use to blend in all the different tones on my face. Also blend in the contour and foundation with my jawline. And if you're watching what I'm doing and you think this is a bit much, just know that a lot of the products that I use are really lightly pigmented. So that's why I can kind of use a heavier hand and go crazy and do many layers. If you use products that have super pigment, you're gonna wanna go in with the lightest hands, smaller brushes, and be very careful. But I'm not a careful person, so I look for the lighter pigments so I can be carefree with my brush. This brush is from La Mer. It is so soft. I like to just swirl it as much as I can because it feels good. It's like I'm getting a facial. By the way, so yesterday I got a facial at a very nice spa in Montreal, and oh, it was gorgeous. I had the jacuzzi all to myself on the 12th floor in an outdoor terrace area. So it was a nice view while relaxing. I recommend everyone go to the spa in Le Cristal, Hotel de Cristal in downtown Montreal. So we have my base down, and I will next be applying blush. I have this new Morphe palette that I got from Ulta. It's a warm blush palette. And look what happened. One of them fell out in my suitcase. It sucked. I had to clean all my clothes, but it's okay. Thankfully it's a shade I wasn't too interested in, but this has been one of my favorite shades so far. I think it's a dupe for Orgasm by NARS, which is my go-to. So these are very powdery, so before you put it on your face, you tap it off. Ooh, did you see all of that? Please don't get on my black shirt. So then I apply it more in a line because it lifts your face up rather than the circle down here, because sometimes it can drag your cheekbones down. So I like to blend upwards with the blush. Obviously bronzer and blush, these are all steps you can skip if you'd like. I just like to do it all. A professional tip is the easiest way to have a pretty look or to give life to your face is blush. If you want to look like you just came from the beach, that's bronzer. Alright, here we go. So once I feel like my base makeup is done, which I think it is right now, I go ahead and spray it with setting spray. I also find that setting spray helps lock in all the makeup all day long, and it also helps melt everything in together so it looks a little more natural. So I'm using one by NYX. You can use any one really. Wet n Wild has a good one, Tasha, Cover Effects. I've just been into affordable makeup lately. It helps save money for other things like traveling. Okay, so now we start with the eyes. The first thing I like to do is just do my eyebrows. So I'm taking the, what is it called? The Goof Proof by Benefit. I take the spoolie on one side and I comb through my brows. Then I go ahead and take the pen on the other one. And excuse me, I'm actually gonna look in my mirror right here instead of the camera. And I just fill in my brows. I'm not very picky with my brows. I think there's something called the Instagram perfect brows. That's not for me. I just have some sparse areas of my eyebrows that I really like to fill in. I know a lot of people carve out the shape of their eyebrows. To me, that doesn't look natural. I've never done that. So I think that looks good. If you were to ask me an eyebrow product that I can't live without, it would be what I'm using next, which is the Brow Gel by Anastasia Beverly Hills. And let me tell you, I've tried a lot of brow gels. This one is the best. I have longer brow hairs, so it holds them into place all day long without feeling super crunchy. I've used some other ones that don't hold the hairs at all, and ones that felt super crunchy, which made it uncomfortable to wear throughout the day. So now we are going to start with my favorite, which is eye makeup. And of course, you know, I'm gonna go for a smoky eye look today because that's what I do. First step in making your eyeshadow last a really long time is eyeshadow primer. So I take the one by Milani, which is really affordable, put it into a flat brush, and then apply over my eyelids. There are some higher end eyeshadows which I feel don't need primer, but some of the mid-range and affordable ones definitely perform well or much better with primer. So if you find that your eyeshadow just isn't lasting as long, primer is the way to go. This is one of my favorite eyeshadow brushes of all time. It's the Sigma E40. And it's a little bit more fluffier, so it's really great for applying the first transition shade of the eye. Now let me first talk about the technique of the eyeshadow I like to do. Yes, I like to make it really smoky, but I like to infuse a few different colors together so it looks like a gradient going upwards. So it goes with lighter color on top and then darkest corner in the outer V crease of your eye. So in case you're wondering my technique, that's the one I go for, and I start off with this fluffy brush because it diffuses the color nice and evenly. And we're gonna go with my super favorite Soft Glam eyeshadow palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills. As you can see, I've already hit pan on a few shades. Actually, the camera's not picking it up, so here you go. So we're gonna start off with one of my favorite brown tones, Rustic. Cut off the excess, and then just start up pretty high. Now this one I want lightly diffused everywhere. So I'm holding my brush at the tip because you apply less pressure that way. And also I'm trying to blend it out evenly. If you know about blending eyeshadows, wherever you press the shadow first, it gets concentrated there, but then you can easily blend it outwards if you'd like. So I'm bringing it all the way in and up. I could do this for hours, really. I find this really relaxing. Even watching other people do it on YouTube, I find it really relaxing when they show the blending process. So I could blend some more but for the sakes of the video, I'll speed it up. Okay, so now for a darker crease shade, I'm gonna go with Cypress Umber, which is an even darker brown. Look, I'm almost out of it. The palette, I'm gonna take a more dense brush, so as you can see, it's not as fluffy, so it's gonna target more pigment in an area than the last brush did. Put that there, tap off excess, and go right beneath the previous shade I put on. Sometimes from a distance, people only see the darkest color in the crease, and so they may think, oh, why use 4 different colors when I only see the darkest one? Well, let me tell you, when you just go in with dark eyeshadow, it's a little too bold and sharp for my taste, and I can see the difference. So always a nice gradient blend of a few colors is my preference. Getting a nice smoky eye is more than just putting on dark eyeshadow all over the lid, in my opinion. Great. And you could do a lot of back and forth. If you feel like you missed the first color that you put on, you can always go in with some more afterwards. There's no one perfect way to do eyeshadow. It's all personal preference and a process. Now, so I'm gonna add a color on my lid, a shimmer, but even if I did that, this is normally a good everyday smoky eye. I'm on vacation and I'm extra, so I will be adding black eyeshadow to the very, very outer corner because I'm extra like that. And the best black eyeshadow to use is the Black is Black Matte by Natasha Denona. Got this in Sephora. If you know about black eyeshadows, they are the hardest ones to work with. They are usually really messy. There's a lot of fallout. If you make a mess with the black eyeshadow, it's really difficult to correct. And a lot of times they're not really matte. They a lot of times have shimmers, but this one is the absolute best. So even though there is a black in the Soft Glam palette, which actually isn't bad, Noir, it's actually a pretty good one, I'm just gonna use this because I know it's the best. I can be a little more carefree with it, whereas the one in the Soft Glam palette, I do have to be very careful and precise, and I'm not in that kind of mood today, so I'm just gonna go ahead, take the same brush. If you'd like, you could take a smaller pencil brush, which I do sometimes, but I kind of want to blend in the look a little more. So let me lean into the camera, and I'm going to look at my vanity, I apologize. And as you can see, place the black just in the outer crease. And then it kind of amplifies the look. Maybe you can't tell with the lighting, but I promise it does. If you're looking to take your makeup look from a daytime appearance to a nighttime one, a lot of times just adding black eyeshadow is all it takes. As you can see, none of it fell out on my cheeks, which is unheard of for black eyeshadows. A lot of times it's really messy. I like that. So now it's time to apply a shimmer eyeshadow. Use one of my brushes. And I like using something called glitter glue. And it helps intensify any shimmers you put on the lid. This one is by NYX. It's called the Pigment Primer. You don't have to use this, but I'm just extra. So take it on the brush. And then I place it only in the parts where I think I'm gonna put shimmer, which would be the inner half of the eyelid. Don't worry about messing up the matte shadows you placed first, because you can always go back and clean that up. Okay, I am going to use a shimmer from the Norvina palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills because the shimmer formula in here is so good in my opinion. Let's see, what am I in the mood for? I will go with Rose Gold, which isn't too intense. place it right here. And if you're wondering, yes, Anastasia Beverly Hills makes my favorite eyeshadow palettes. Now it's time for the lashes. I always curl my lashes with an eyelash curler. The magic number I go for length of time of holding the curler is 15 seconds. I've seen a lot of people just do it for a quick 1, 2, 3. But I don't know, my lashes naturally go really straight down and I actually like them pretty high up. So 15 seconds is what I try to go for. So if you're wondering, I think Montreal is such a beautiful city. I recommend everyone come here sometime. It's very French. So you hear a lot of bonjour and merci, but if you only know English like myself, then it's not impossible to get around. Alright, so let's move on to the lips now. What will I use today? A lot of different lipsticks. Let's start with a lip liner from Marc Jacobs. I not only line, but I like to fill in my whole lips with this just because I have some freckles on my lips that I like to cover up. I also find that a lip pencil is a good base for a lipstick, kind of like a primer, so it makes your lip color last a lot longer. So since my eyes are pretty bold, I'm going to go with a light lipstick. I think the golden rule is you can't be bold with eyes and lips at the same time, so it's one or the other, bold lip or bold eye. I personally am not a fan of bold lips on myself, so it's an easy choice. I have a lot of nudes. This lipstick is by Morphe. Okay, this is my last step and my most favorite. I feel like it completes my look, and it is, you guessed it, highlighter. So this is my new favorite one. It's by Laura Geller, and I only got it because it was on sale, but it's legit one of my favorites. I haven't been able to put it down. I will also repurchase this. Not looking for another highlighter. Oh, it works so well for my skin tone. See here? Let me put a close up. I'm going to take my favorite highlighting brush by Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is the A23. And then I like to put it top of my cheekbones, like that. So the blush that I put on earlier leaves a little bit of a highlight finish to it, so I didn't need this, but I'm me, and I feel like I always need highlighter. I also put it above my eyebrows here. The professional tip is to put it in the middle of the forehead and the nose, but I have oily skin, so that will look glowy there on its own in a few hours. So I do above the eyebrow. Okay, so that is the completed look. Let me know what you think, and I will talk to you all later. Thank you.